Hi, this is Dr. Noel Lloyd for 5-Star Management. I want to welcome you back to video number 2 in the Win-Win Associate Development Training Series. That's a mouthful. In video number 1, we talked all about preparation, how to prepare your head for your associate, getting the headspace right, laying the foundation and the framework for your associateship. We also talked about your business plan, making sure that you had targets for profit, break even, and also bonus. Also, number 3, we talked about getting your house in order. We want to make sure that we do the facilities, also the mechanics and the staff tweaks in order to smoothly receive the associate. So if you haven't seen video number 1, I want to send you back to video number 1 and then come back and do this one, number 2. I want to thank you for all the great emails and the compliments and the comments that you've been leaving. I really appreciate the encouragement and glad you're enjoying things. In the Win-Win Associate video course, we'll cover how to prepare right so you get the right associateship model, how to hire right so you get the right associate in the right relationship, how to train right so the associate gets the skills that they need to succeed like you want them to and like they want to, and then also how to launch right, how to get the wins that are so motivating and exciting and rewarding and get those early. Now, if you get this piece wrong, no one sees your ad. If they do, the wrong people show up. Or you end up in bad interviews where you don't learn anything, or you end up saying too much of the wrong stuff, and the prospective associate reads you like a book and tells you what they think you want to hear, or they become the prize instead of you and your job, and you can end up with a bad associate in a bad contract and a bad relationship, and you don't want any of that. If you get this right, you end up with quality prospects, you're in control, doing great interviews where you're learning a ton. You get to choose the right person, and the right person really, really wants you. You're in a protected relationship because you've got a great contract, and you're off on the right foot, headed in the right direction, ready to train your associate and how to be a success. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is how to get good prospects or candidates in our process. So, number 1, we're going to treat this like sales. Now, I'm going to draw a sales funnel, and you know how this works. The leads go in the top, and then the funnel process looks like this, and then out at the bottom, you get a buyer. We've got an associateship position. This is our sales funnel, and this is our win-win associate right here. This is the person ready to go. And the first step in the process is our ad. Now, a couple different things about our ad. Again, we want to teach this, we want to treat this like sales. So this is a sales campaign. And salesmen want their opportunity to be in front of the most qualified eyes as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the internet. Right now, capital I for internet, right now you're probably getting most of your staff positions filled by Craigslist or Indeed. In chiropractic, one of the things that we'll do is we'll go to all the job boards. We'll also go to the free sites that are offered by chiropractic products or chiropractic technique or organizations. And there are some paid sites too. There are chiropractic magazines or publications, and they have some paid sites. The pay isn't too bad. Don't go to the real expensive outside the chiropractic profession executive recruit sites. It's just not worth it. Number 3. Let's talk about the language in our ad. I'm going to read some of the ads here when I'm posting mine or looking for job boards, but what we want to do is attract people with our ads. So what is our associate looking for? I think he or she is looking to help people have fun, make money. I think that they want to have an exciting opportunity and they want to be trained. If they don't want to be trained and they don't want an exciting opportunity, and if they don't want to help people have fun, make money, that's probably not our person. I have said in this, and I'll just put down language, make top dollar while you learn how to be a successful chiropractor. Now, I'm going to teach them how to be successful. My associates have made top dollar. Don't be afraid of that, by the way. They will earn that money, and I'll talk about how that works. And then number four, remove ads that don't hit. If you're not getting any cover letters with resume off that ad, and 1 or 2 weeks, if you're not getting something, remove that ad. If this ad right down here, the one that we're going to refresh, was a real good producer for you, we're going to go back onto the job board, and we'll probably notice that ads have stacked up on top of it and pushed it down below the fold, or you might even be on page 3 or 4. So we're going to remove that ad, but we're going to refresh it. We're going to repost it again so we can keep it up at the top. So new people going to that particular job board will see our ad. Number 1, treat it like sales. Number 2, we're just going to go as wide on the internet as we possibly can. Number 3, write an attractive ad that includes a conversation with the prospect that they should be attracted to. And then if we've got a poor performing ad, we're going to remove that. If we've got a great ad, we're going to refresh it. So now we've got several people to do an interview on. And so let's take a look at the interview process. Number 1, when somebody sends me a cover letter and a resume, I'm going to get on the phone to that person. I call it the phone howdy. And that's, hey, I got your stuff. Welcome to the profession. It's exciting. I've got some great news for you. There's no biochem in practice. And so I will sense and see how I like that particular individual. I'm not desperate. I'm not needy. But I'm going to get in touch with them quickly. Good people disappear quickly. And there's a lot of competition among smart people for good chiropractic associates. So connect on the phone. Number 2, I'm going to ask them how quickly we can do a face-to-face. And in a face-to-face interview, hey, when are you going to be in Seattle? And I'm going to set that up as quickly as I possibly can. Now, in my interview process, I don't tell them anything about what I'm offering until I know everything about them. Somebody might say, what are you offering? And I could say, and I have said this before, well, maybe nothing. In other words, it might not be you I'm offering something to. I don't mean to be rude, and I don't mean to be coy. If somebody persists, I will say, well, let me ask you a few questions first. And I want to know, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? And now, if their goals are consistent with mine, and if I like them in this face-to-face process, I'm very, very likely to make them some type of offer. Now, let me talk to you about my offer. So I'm going to work backwards. There's an arrow going backwards from the money. Now, I offer a base salary against a percentage, but the real attractive thing that I offer is success training. If I sense in my interview that this person wants success training, I'll talk about what that means, and I'll give an example of getting to a $100,000 income for the associate. And I've had many associates that have made $100,000 or more. And so I can talk about when we get to this. I'm going to teach you how to get new patients. I'll teach you how to stay in a patient-valued relationship. So my offer really is education. It's how to help people, how to have fun, how to make money. Now, after I get done with that offer, if the person looks like they're interested, I will say, so are you leaning toward this opportunity or away from it? One young woman said to me, anybody who didn't want to do this is crazy. Now that's the type of response I like, but here's what I do with that. I tell them to call me. And here's what I mean by that. I want you to go home, I want you to think about it. If you're still excited about this tomorrow, I want you to get up, I want you to call me at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, call my cell number, tell me what the offer is, and tell me if you're in. So I do a little push away. Now, that gives them a chance to have things sink in. Every now and again, I've sent somebody home who said that they were real excited. They didn't get back in touch with me. You know, that kind of lets me know that they weren't ready for what I had to offer. Now, I've got applicants. I've done my interview process. The next thing we need to talk about is our contract. Super important. So we've placed our ad. we've done our interview, and now it's time to go over a contract. Contracts are super important. This is not a day and age where you can have a handshake relationship. I know that's too bad, but you just need to do it. And I've got too many stories that I can't tell you in the time that we have here about people who thought they didn't need a contract. You need a contract. So what I want you to do, and there's another dollar sign, I want you to spend money with a big-time attorney. And I mean an attorney that's going to cost you between $300 and $500 an hour. It's a labor attorney. They are expert in writing work agreements. Don't make the mistake that many, many, many have made, and that is they grab this contract or they grab that contract and they just Xerox it or just white out, you know, the name of the other office and put their name in. I just cannot tell you how bad that is and how that can come back to bite you. The next thing that you want to have in your contract, number 2, is this is to protect you. You're the person with all the assets. The associate is $200,000 in debt frequently, and your practice can be worth multiple times that. You have to protect the practice. This gives you the ability to act on behalf of protecting the practice, and that's what your contract does. Okay? Now, number 3. I said read the contract. Now that sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? But it really isn't. It's a super important step. I sit down with somebody who said, hey, I'm ready to go, and then I read through the contract. Now, in this portion here, this is kind of the big vision part. And this portion here, this talks about how I'm going to be protected, and I explain that to them. And then also this frames the relationship. And during the time we read this, they read a paragraph, we talk about it, I read a paragraph, we talk about it. What we do is we get this stuff inside their head correctly so they understand how the deal really exists before they actually sign. And this frames the relationship. This is how we are going to treat each other if we don't want to treat each other that way. In other words, this is how we agree to handle any disputes or problems. And then number 4, we're going to get a signature. Now people have said, can I take this to my attorney? You can take it to whoever you want to, but I don't negotiate my contract. This is the work relationship we'll have. And so people can go take that contract. Once they sign the contract, we're in business. We're going to do work together. Now, here's our associate. Bright, shining, ready to go. So let me tell you what this looks like in real life. Dr. Brian Morris in Ohio, number 1, placed a really, really good ad all over the internet. Number 2, got some resumes and connected with a young man on the phone and set up a face-to-face interview. There, in his interview, he found out that this doctor had been the high-volume primary treating doctor in another practice. There were also things that Dr. Brian had that this young man needed, and they both started to develop that relationship. Well, also in the offer and the contract, which worked just perfectly, they had an associateship. Now, all of the training assignments that followed that were consistent with the ad, consistent with the interview, consistent with the offer, and consistent with the contract. And so what was the result? Well, there were 2 months in a row where Dr. Brian and his family were able to take a full week off. They had never done that before. So 2 weeks vacation in just 2 months because they got the freedom from doing a really, really good setup. So why do I tell you Brian's story? I want you to know that this isn't just theory, that it's real life. But let's not talk about Brian, let's talk about you. How much better off would your associate program be if you, number 1, knew how to get the right ad in the right place in front of the right person? Number 2, that you knew the interview skills that you need to in order to pick the best prospect for your offer. And then you made a great offer that made you the prize instead of the prospective associate, and then you had a contract that protected you. What I want you to do is I want you to leave me some comments below. in the comment box, and I want you to tell me, why do you want to work on your ad? Why do you want to work on your interview stuff? And why do you want your offer and your contract to be precise and tight? Instead of a poorly worded ad going out by carrier pigeon, or having chit-chatty interviews where you don't learn anything, or being in a bad contract and behind the 8 ball and being stuck with a bad associate. So, in the next video, we're going to talk about how to train right. The incredibly important part about training an associate to get his or her own new patients. Also training them to be your new patient assistant and to handle overflow for you. And training the associate on how to do good retention work. You know, I wish we had more time in this video. I could talk about the hiring process all day, how to place your ads, how to do the interview, how to make the offer, and then what to do with your contract. Now, if you'd like some help with this, if you'd like to fully flesh out a campaign to put on the internet to get associate interviews, if you'd like to sharpen up on your interview skills so that you can pick the best associate. Number 3, if you want to make your offer in such a way that you're the prize instead of the associate. And number 4, if you want to get some good contract models, come to Win-Win Associate Development in Las Vegas in November on the 8th and 9th, and we'll go into all of this stuff super deep. One of the things I want you to do is I want you to check the box down below and see if there are any seats left, because I'd love to have you come and join us. We're going to have a ton of fun. We're going to go super deep into all that stuff. So we'll see you there. See you on the next video too.